What is up, bros? Me, Josh here. In today's video, we are diving into the Kronshtadt, the Tier 9 Russian cruiser that has just gotten into the work in progress phase, so we get to check it out a little bit early and see it. Now, again, this is work in progress, so it is not finalized, and I really hope it isn't, because what I've seen so far on this ship, I'm not liking too much. Let's dive into the ship, though, see what it has. A massive health pool of almost 60,000 HP. That's going to be by far the biggest at Tier 9. Comparing it to the other Tier 9 cruisers, you have, I think, at least a 10,000 gap over, I think the Donskoy was the next highest. 43 Rune, I know, was pretty high as well. I mean, you're over 10,000 more than the Rune, so you have a big health pool, and even with the armor layout as well, you have by far the best armor out of all of these ships, although it didn't really seem like it when I was playing it. It has 230 millimeter shells, or armor thickness on the armor belt and everything like that, but I still didn't feel like I should be tanking. Now, the Kronstadt, if you didn't know, is the first real kind of battle cruiser at this tier. We've seen other ships like this, like I guess the Scharnhorst, technically, the Dunkirk, but this is actually a cruiser, so it's things you're going to be comparing it to. And when people kind of ask what this ship plays like, is the Graf Spee. So if you ever played the Graf Spee, the tier 6 German cruiser, it plays very similar to that, a bit more tanky at that tier, and then you basically have a slower reload with almost battleship guns. These guns, of course, are 305 millimeters, so by far the biggest of any cruiser in the game, I believe. Well, the quote-unquote battle cruiser, and but it comes with battleship dispersion. Now, when I say battleship dispersion, I don't know. The Scharnhorst has technically worse dispersion than this, but I felt like the Scharnhorst was more accurate than this. This almost reminded me of closed beta Colorado when I was playing this. There were certain shots where I was really hoping to just absolutely obliterate these. Big shells, 305 millimeters. I mean, there were certain shots I felt like I could have done more damage with the 203s on a broadside target. And with a slower reload, the slowest at this tier by far, and this is 17.6 seconds with the reload module, because you come with the standard 18.2 kilometer range, so it's not really needed for the range. It was just, it would. There were certain shots where I thought something was dead, and it just completely surrounded the ship. I'm hoping they really add some kind of dispersion increase to this ship, because right now I felt like there was no reason to play it, and I did not really enjoy playing it. And I really, I don't want to make this an entire bash of this ship. I feel like there's great potential of this kind of cruiser and this kind of playstyle, but with what this ship is right now, the guns were just absolutely abysmal. And with 305 millimeters, I was hoping to absolutely rip up cruisers, and it was just not happening. So the biggest shells by far, but I felt like in the biggest alpha damage, a good HE fire chance with 26%. I just wasn't seeing it when I was actually playing it. Secondaries as well. You are going to be a cruiser. You're going to have a decent little range. Of course, I wouldn't spec this thing out really for anything since you don't have torp, so you probably won't be spending too much of your time getting too close. Decent AA, mid-range. You're going to be right there, I think, even with the Rune. Actually, the Rune's way higher. This is with the Captain, so maybe they're near the Donskoy. So you're going to be right there with the Donskoy, a little under, so you're not going to be a massive AA bloom to fear off CVs, so you're going to have to be a little worried about that. But luckily, you do have a relatively high torpedo protection and a decent heal to get you through any damage from striking aircraft. Maneuverability, 33 point. I mean, the rest of the ship is pretty competitive at this tier. I would say maybe on a little bit of the higher end, but still, you're going to be right there with some other ships, and even a bit stealthier than some other ships. But the main thing you're going to see with this ship is, if you've played the Graf Spee, or, I mean, we've seen other ships like this, the Karav, a bigger caliber gun, but with a slower reload, but the Karav shoots lasers. If you've ever played the Spee or the Scharnhorst, those are going to be the things that are going to compare this to the most. Just one thing happens to be a battleship, and one thing happens to be a tier 6 cruiser, so you're going to be going against less targets. But this, I was really underwhelmed with what I could run. Currently on this ship, I am running with the Kronshtadt, I'm running a 17-point captain. So this is my relative loadout right here. Very basic, since the guns are not the fastest in the world. I picked up expert marksmanship, and then even picked up demo expert with AFT. So we are getting a little bit of boost there. And one thing that's kind of surprising is that it doesn't have radar. You only get spotter planes. So another reason why you take reload over range, but you don't get radar. So, compared to the Donskoy, which brings 203s to the party, a faster reload, and radar, with 180 millimeter shell, the Kronstadt doesn't bring radar. So I feel like it could be another radar ship. you know, that kind of almost tanky radar ship, go in there and be very effective. But you're only bringing Hydro or AA, and you are limited on how many repairs you can bring. So we've seen that in other ships in the past, and you know, of course, the heals if you want to run that. Upgrades, I ran just a pretty basic setup: the reload, concealment, turning radius, stuff like that. But when I actually played this ship, I was really expecting more. There was a certain situation where I was completely broadside, or a North Carolina was broadside to me, and I was hoping to absolutely smash him. 8 kilometers away at 305 millimeters. I was hoping for some citadels. I was hoping for some big damage. I think all of them dunked either over or in the water, besides one, and I got 840 damage. That was a massive, massive letdown for me. And every time I just played this ship, I was hoping for more damage, and it just never came. I played one game where I was like, okay, maybe this is an actual AP ship where I should be getting more damage out of armor-piercing shells, and was much to be desired. There's another game where I was like, okay, maybe this is a secretly edition HE Flinger. And again, it left much to be desired. I didn't see any real massive fire damage. I didn't see real massive fire output. I didn't see the high alpha damage that I was promised with these 305s. I felt like it was just so many situations where it's like, man, if I was in a different ship at this tier, a St. Louis, a Rune, any other ship, it felt like I would have been doing more damage with a smaller caliber shell, which doesn't make much sense. You know, with a bigger reload, you expect as a battleship, you know, kind of how this is running, armament style, is you have a longer reload, but again, you have a bigger damage output, bigger damage, and I just really wasn't seeing it. The Kronshtadt, I think, has some great potential with its ship. First of all, I think it's an overall good-looking ship. The battle cruiser line with the rumors, I guess they're not really rumors, but with the anticipation of the USN split, we're going to see kind of a more of a battle cruiser focused line, and then a kind of a higher firing light cruiser line. The battle cruiser line is definitely going to be coming through, but you just really have to compare it to what you will see compared, like what you're going to be going against. You know, this is still technically it's a battle cruiser, but you will be up against other cruisers. I don't see this thing winning a fight against the Rune. I don't see this thing fighting against the Donskoy. And really going the HE versus AP route on this ship, it's, you know, it's not one or the other, which is good. It's not like an HE, it relies completely on that. It's on AP only, which is good. I felt like this ship could punish stuff if it was absolutely broadside, but again, at that tier with 203s, you punish everything that's broadside. So I was expecting more out of this ship. Bigger shells, you should be getting bigger damage, and I just wasn't seeing it. Again, I don't want to make this thing a roast on it, especially since it's still work in progress, so I'm hoping they do change some stuff. One thing I really hope they change is I hope they give it better dispersion. It just needs it. I felt like there were so many situations where I should have absolutely punished something that was broadside, something, you know, battleships that are broadside, ships that were low life, and it just completely either bracketed the ship, splashed in the water, completely missed it, and a cruiser with battleship dispersion, again with 242 meter dispersion. You know, it's not the best. You are shooting battleship guns, but you aren't quite getting rewarded for shooting those said guns as well, with situations where I felt like I should have obliterated something off the planet. Kronshtadt, though, tier 9, looking like it's potentially going to be a premium. I doubt they're going to do like a split like they will with the USN line. So looking like a tier 9 premium. Right now, though, luckily it's still in work in progress. I'm glad the ship isn't going out like this. It's lacking something. It's lacking a reason to play this ship over something else. I don't see a reason to bring it over any other ship like the Rune. It's not like it's like, okay, well, this has a massive damage output. Okay, this has a massive tank ability, because, you know, I would just run something stealthier that does it better, or run something that's better in open water. Yes, you are going to be the tankiest ship, the cruiser at this tier, because of your bigger armor, but again, with the 227 millimeter front end, you're just going to still get smashed by anything if you try to bow tank. So you're maybe a little bit more protected broadside. Again, a battleship's just going to chew you up like nothing else, but you could, you know, break some 203s and stuff like that on the side, or if you're potentially angling it right. But if anybody knows what they're doing, it's just going to tear up your nose. So again, it leaves a lot to be desired. You know, no radar, no massive AA, no really anything. You shoot slow, you shoot inaccurately, and you have a massive health pool, which is good, so you have that tool, but the things are going to be pushing up against their battleships, so they're just going to beat you anyways. I was hoping for more with the Kronshtadt. This thing's been kind of teased a lot, with the Stalingrad coming up too for clan battle rewards. We're hoping for maybe some really cool ships here. I like tier 9. I think tier 9 is an awesome tier, and there's some really, really, really good tiers with the buff. With the buff to the Baltimore, well, that was a long time ago. It's not a recent buff. This is a really competitive tier for cruisers and a really fun tier for cruisers. And I think honestly, tier 9 is one of the best matchmaking tiers because ships up tier so well against tier 10s, and as well is they're so much better than tier 7. So honestly, I think tier 9 is the best matchmaking tier because you're rewarded so much if you do get top tier. But again, I just don't see the point in this ship currently. The battle cruiser line I think will be really popular. Again, this thing plays like a tier 9 Grasp-Bay, tankier. But again, if you've ever played that ship, it kind of has that hot and cold dispersion. But this one just seemed to be cold, cold, cold. Battleship guns, battleship dispersion, and not getting rewarded for those guns. But anyway, I didn't mean for this to be an entire roast on this ship. I just didn't enjoy it. I played a few games in this ship. I didn't want to play one game and be like, yeah, this is okay. This is not my thing. This is not my style. So I played it a few more times, back to back to back, and just didn't really see what I was missing on this thing. So again, work in progress, guys. So even though my harsh roast on this ship, I always feel bad when I do this. I don't really mean to. But again, I just want to let you guys really know what I think of this ship currently. And I think they will be doing some changes to it. It seems like a lot of the other CCs aren't really enjoying this as well. So that's usually a good sign without this going out like this for sure. But anyways, guys, the first impressions of the Kronshtadt, some good upside to this ship is it does have it's relatively tanky. It has some potential to be that kind of pushing cruiser. With the lack of torpedoes, though, it is kind of weird. I would like to see maybe torpedoes on this. I doubt they'll add that though. You can't get too many things. What I expect to happen though is a dispersion buff. I doubt they'll go reload because reload matches other 305s. Or that kind of caliber of ship. So I doubt they'll go reload. I bet you they'll go dispersion. And I'm really hoping to see the next rendition of this ship just kind of hitting harder. I want those 305s to do 305 things, not 305s to be CBT Colorado things, if you guys remember that ship. So a lot of misses, not too many hits with this ship, figuratively and literally, and looking forward to the upcoming new version of this ship. But anyways, guys, that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. The tier 9 Kronshtadt, the work in progress Russian cruiser. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Everyone likes to subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.